Welcome to Season 3, Episode 4 of the Pusa Podcast. I am Vaibhavi Rao, your host, and I'm honored to welcome Mr. Saeed Shervani, Managing Director of Star Hotels Private Limited and an esteemed alumnus of IHM Pusa Batch of 1982. It's a pleasure to have you with us today, sir.
Thank you for calling me. Thank you for having me here.
And before we officially begin, I would like to mention and extend our heartfelt gratitude on behalf of all of IHM Pusa for the establishment of this very studio that we are recording from, Studio 82, which has been commissioned by and facilitated by the entire 1982 batch, including you, sir. So, yes, this is an extremely heartfelt gratitude
Thank
for
you.
the establishment
On
of the
behalf
studio,
of
sir.
Class of 82, thank you very much. It has indeed been a pleasure for us. And the name was thought of by some of the class people, Studio 82, and hats off to them because I think this will remain entrenched for years to come as Studio 82 and a reminder to everybody that the Class of 82 did this.
Yes, sir. In the last episode, Principal Sir mentioned how alumni is one of the most important stakeholders for IHM Pusa. And you being part of the board of governors as well for IHM Pusa, what do you think about IHM Pusa's growth as an institute and where it will go in the next decade or so?
Oh, it's been tremendous. In fact, I just want to tell you a small story of when we had some years ago had a gathering of alumni in the Ashoka Hotel, and Veer Sangvi, a famous editor, news writer, travel writer, food critic, was invited as the chief guest, and that hall had about 800 to 1,000, people, the students, students, and when he saw who was there of the industry, he was shocked, and he said that I can't believe this. That Pusa, these are all Pusa pass out students of Delhi, and he said you guys need to publicize yourself very much more. And I am happy that you have this podcast studio now where you can, because Pusa has really produced great entrepreneurs, great hotel professionals, and in other fields, people who have been very successful. And I think it, the credit goes to the faculty and the institute over the years for having done that. So I think it's a great.
And so there's another prominent fact that there was a certain time where IHM Pusa used to come under the bracket of the Ministry of Agriculture. And there was a shift, and now it is under the Ministry of Tourism. So, what is the story behind that?
Well, it's a very interesting question, and I'm glad you have asked that, because I think people should know the history. Well, we were there, we joined Pusa in 78, 79, and there was always this feeling that we are not in touch with the industry's demand, the hospitality industry's requirements. And one of the feelings that grew was that because Pusa was initially created as an institute for nutrition management and was by the Ministry of Agriculture, who then had nothing to do with tourism and hospitality, that our curriculum, our syllabus was really not up to the times. And there was no way that a ministry in India gives its great asset to another ministry. So we decided to, first ask for it, and when it was not done, we did go on a strike. And we used to sit in the lawns and sing songs like tourism, tourism, tujhko meri kasam, things like that. But we were non-violent, I must emphasize. We never broke any property. We just used to sit out of the class and put pressure on the Ministry of Agriculture to hand us over to the Ministry of Tourism. We even took out a procession in India Gate with chef's uniform and suits and ties and whatever. And it was well covered in those days, and peacefully asking for this thing, because we said we are hotel management. Most of our students are taken up by the hotel industry, so we should be a hotel management institute under Ministry of Tourism, because the belief was we'll be more up to the times, and there would be the right people to guide us and to govern us. And finally we met Mr. Rajiv Gandhi, who was then the General Secretary, and his mother was the Prime Minister. And he saw us among all those khadi clad people in the morning. We were there in girls, 4 5 girls in saris, and we were in ties and suits. And he called us immediately and said, "What are you young people doing here?" And we told him our issue, and he said, "Well, it seems a reasonable ask. Let me look into it." And then we said, "We are sitting outside." He said, "No, no, you must go to your classrooms. Don't do this, and I will look into it seriously." And that is history. And we had, I mean, it passed out, and it was transferred back to the Ministry of Tourism, which quickly took over, and obviously over the years has brought about the changes in the syllabus, in the curriculum, kept up with the hospitality, changing great changes in the hospitality industry and other revenues. And here you are, young boys and girls who are doing very well after finishing your 3 years of education. And now you're a degree, we were a diploma.
Right. We've come a long way. And so, from your eyes, back then, what hotel management used to stand for? And now, if you look at the degree, it's a B.Sc in hospitality and hotel administration. And so, you've had a tremendous career growth in so many different areas. What is your perspective on how hospitality has changed? Like what it used to stand for back then and what it means now?
Well, it has definitely changed tremendously. Technology is one aspect, and more importantly, I think the guests' demands and knowledge and requirements. The guests are definitely much more knowledgeable, much more traveled, much more experienced, and they know what they want. The world has changed so much that a press of a button, you get all the information, and therefore they have all the information, and because of that the expectations are no less. So this has all brought a tremendous change to the industry. We were very formal. We had those white cloth, more European, I would say, French, where we would put a white cloth and be more stiff, and the guest was at a distance. Today, I feel that your waiter is your steward is your buddy waiter, who becomes a friend, and the Americans' influence may be that there is more of a guidance, and your mentor for giving you an experience. So more than service, we have become an experience. We should concentrate on experience, giving a total experience to the guests, than just service.
Exactly. And tourism now is witnessing consistent growth for quite a while now. But there is a talent crunch in the industry. And you have been a prominent figure in FHRAI board, and you've been a founding member for Faith as well, which is an umbrella of all the tourism organizations. So, what is your opinion on that, sir?
Well, the industry has always had their own associations. In fact, the hospitality in the hotel industry has three associations, uh, and the travel and trade has 4 or 5 or 6 associations, and each of them were doing their own small things, but they were never together. And the hospitality industry felt that to get the government to listen to them, they should be together on some cases for one platform instead of fighting each other to come on one platform. And some of us professionals who were part of our hotel associations at that time got together. It was from the tribal trade associations, the hospitality associations, and we made Faith, which was a very apt name, Federation of Association of Indian Hospitality, and faith in ourselves, faith in our government, and faith in the idea that this industry is the industry for the future of India, and uh, and get everybody together. So that was the idea, and we, 10, 12 of us got together, and we formed the memorandum articles, and we registered Faith. The associations, of course, backed it. It took some time convincing them, but they backed it. Each association decided that their presidents would be on the board of Faith, and that's how it took off. That's how it was formed.
Okay. And so, can you elaborate a bit more on your career growth, like as a what do you call it? As a graduate of IHM Pusa, after that, like you've been in the industry for 40 years now. So, what has your career growth looked like? Like you're the managing director
You
at
know,
this very moment.
I somehow things happened which I had not planned for. I was only in second year college. My father, who was an industrialist, he passed away. He was only 59. I was actually planning to go to Cornell after finishing Pusa. Remember, at that time it was a diploma.
Right.
So I had to do the 4 years of graduation in Cornell. But they had agreed to give a 2 year credit, 2 semester credit.
Right.
And because of the diploma, and it was not a degree. So I had to do my degree again to
Right.
be a
Right.
graduate at that time. Everything was settled, and I think it was 20th April 1981 when I was supposed to meet him. He was coming to Delhi. We had a house in Delhi, and I had gone there on the weekend. It was a weekend to from the hostel. I used to be hostel. I used to live in the hostel to spend some time with him, and he passed away in the train. That changed my life because I couldn't go to America. I never traveled abroad, and in Nainital we had a small house, and well, it was on about 2 acres, and my mother wanted to sell it because she had great memories of. And I was in second year college, and I said, "Don't sell it. Let me give it to me. Let me run it as a small hotel." So we, the two houses we had, one in Delhi, where I'd gone to meet my father, and one in, I took it over as a 12 room and a 18 room hotel. And immediately after my 82 exams, me and two friends, one was Mr. Kaushik and the other was Rajiv Chopra, we went straight to Nainital and ran the hotel ourselves, the 18 room hotel. Chopra was very good, neat and clean. He used to keep his hostel room clean, so we put him in housekeeping. Kaushik was very happy with cooking, so we put him in the kitchen. And I, because I could talk, I went into the front office and I had, receiving the guests. And we ran it for 20, 25 days. And that is how I got into the industry. Today, Nainital is a 48 room boutique hotel. And we have sold Delhi because it was in Luton's Delhi and it was only 13 rooms. And the real estate was very expensive. It was not conducive because you didn't get permission to make more rooms to run a 13 room setup in a locality like Sundarnagar. So finally we sold that and we went into, opened the Rodeo restaurant, which was a hit in 1992 in Delhi, Connaught Place. And then we now have Cobbett and in Treorova in Mukteshwar and a hotel in Chirag Enclave.
So, what was it that motivated you? Like, freshly out of college, you've got that spirit in you to establish an entire hotel of your own. So, was there anything that
I
motivated you as
I
such?
belonged to a family that had big business, but I was the third child, son. So I did not want to work for my brothers. Normally in Indian families then and in most of the families now, the eldest
Right.
person gets the uh, job, top job. I knew one thing, that I didn't want to be working for them. I wanted to work for myself.
Do something of
And
your
when I
own.
realized that I could not go, my father was opening a 80 room hotel to me and giving in Allahabad, which is now Prayagraj, and wanted to give that to me. And he had said, "You go and study in Cornell. When you come back, this hotel will be ready." But he passed away. God had other plans. So I had no choice but to get into the industry. And either I would work for someone else or I had this opportunity to get these two. That was my thinking. Why not convert and work for myself rather than, if I'm not working for my brothers, why work for the other hotels?
Of course.
So work for yourself. So I was only 22, 23 years old at that time. So I learned from working because, when you pass out from Pusa then, as I'm sure now, you're not probably ready to be an entrepreneur. It's a little years of experience that makes you. But my experience came from on the job, from making the mistakes, from learning, from relying on, journals. We used to have journals in Pusa. I don't know if you have
We
that
still
now.
have them. We
So
still
I
have
used to
them.
take my journals and I used to look at the journals and read them, which I never read during exams as much as I did, and try to take out recipes and other things and teach it to my staff.
I believe now in college we have also started implementing more of a focus on entrepreneurship. Like in our second year as well, right now we have this program called like entrepreneur development program.
Great.
In our food production classes, we set up a specific menu and then we sell it amongst the students, and then we see like who has generated more sales. So now I believe this is also a change in Pusa.
Oh yes, I mean look at the Pusa and well as hotel management graduates going into their own businesses. I think it's far more increased than with a small business, big business, than it was in those days. Of course, it's a hotel is a capital intensive industry, so it's not easy. But there's so many other avenues where you're getting capital put into restaurants, and people are willing to give you money if you have the credentials to start up your own restaurants.
Exactly, exactly. And so, hospitality is an industry which is said to be slower, and it has like a slower growth compared to other industries. So, what is your opinion on that?
A growth of your career or growth of it as an industry?
Growth in a career, like how much time it takes to build, like
I have seen people becoming general managers or executive chefs at 35, 40. Now, I think that time is required. The only difference I see is the youth of today is in a hurry. The world is pace of the world has changed. Everything is happening very fast. If you became a GM at 35, 40, it was considered a great career, because you started at 20, 21, and in 15 years, 16 years, you've reached the top. So I think it would be great, and by the time you're 45, 50, you have become a CEO or MD of a company. Many of them have. So I thought that was a great target to do it. So I don't think growth has always been slow, has never been slow for those who have been at the top level. It may be slow for those at the middle because, again, as I said, the industry needs to grow faster, the hospitality industry, to get to absorb the best of talent. The hospitality industry also needs to look at its working hours. It needs to look at the pay it gives. These are issues that I think at the top level of even brands are being looked into and considered because we seem to be losing the best of our talent to other industries just because of better working hours and because of higher pay packages. So I think the hospitality industry is well versed to it and realizes this. What they're going to do, I think the big ones, the big guys as I call them, will be making some changes. And maybe as we talk, they're already on the way. I don't know. You said, I've retired now from the associations and from my own business. I give it only half the time. So I'm not so up to date with what is happening in the industry.
right. So, was there any point in your career where you felt as if your career was not probably going as fast paced as you wanted it to, or were there any challenges that you faced over the course of your career?
I'll tell you, there is a nervousness when you start your own business. You are aware that you're not experienced. You are afraid of taking up new things and making mistakes because there's a lot at stake. But one of the people I will remember always was Ambassador Hotel uh, owner at that time, Lala Ramprasad ji, who was also president of FHRAI in 1982. When I opened my hotel, in those days you had to get them classified 1 star, 2 star, 3, 4, 5 star. It was important because all benefits or that came from the government came to only star rated hotels. So I was a bit nervous. I looked at my hotel and I applied for a 2 star hotel. I thought I will never get it because the whole committee would come. They had regional director tourism, senior officers tourism, and the industry person was Mr. So I went to see him, Lalaram, and I said, "Sir, I'm a young man. I will just open a hotel. When this committee comes, can you, instead of sending somebody else, because he was president of FHRAI, can you come to Nainital?" He promised me that he would come, and he came. And he was very encouraging, the most encouraging. And he said that in Nainital at that time, this young man has opened this 18-room hotel, and you are trying to compare it with Switzerland hotels and stuff. He says there's no rated hotel in Nainital. He said, why 2 star? Give him 3 star. He's done such a great job. So somebody said, but the 2 star fee he's paid is less than the 3 star. He said, never mind. We'll tear that check and we'll ask him to make a new check. And you be a 3 star. And you're good enough, son, and you've made the first 3 star of Kumau Hills. I was 23, 24. To get that pat on the back from the president of FHRI at that time, for me, was a great
Tremendous
turning point. That gave me confidence. Yeah, I know my work. I can do it. And I was not afraid to start innovations. Like I realized that people at that time, Nainital used to have hotels only around the Mall Road. I was above it. So I introduced what we now know as modified American plan, breakfast and dinner, so that the customer would eat in the hotel, and he could go out in the day and come back evening, and his meal was paid for in the room tariff. I also introduced Jeep service because once you parked your car, there was, in those days, we had only Fiat and Ambassadors, and those cars couldn't climb up. They had to stop and they had to be, put water in the engines, cool them down, and then we never had Marutis, or even today. I mean, you can't think of that. But, and so I started my Jeep service. That once you came to the hotel, we would take you down in our Jeeps and bring it. Today, every hotel is doing it. Erodio also was the first Tex-Mex restaurant, I think, of the country. And it was a very new thing. It could have failed, but it was a super hit. People still remember it. Of course, we closed it down after COVID, but it is still a very, very happy memory with those who worked for it, and also those who were the customers.
It's an incredible growth. So, for the students who are currently studying hospitality management, what do you believe are the skills that are necessary to have this sort of career growth going forward?
You have to be a people's person. Number one, you are dealing with different human beings with different moods at different time. People come to hotels for different reasons. Some may come because they have a very important case the next morning and they're worried about it, they're anxious. Others may come to resorts for holidays with their family. Somebody may come for a wedding anniversary, a special occasion. Somebody may come for its birthday celebrations. So customers have in the same hotel can come with various motives, various, and therefore their moods are different. A great hotel professional would recognize this, would do his little bit of homework that Mr. X, if room 203 is celebrating his birthday, has come with his wife for a wedding anniversary, or the guest of 101 is on a business, something very important, is anxious. Very subtle difference. A person who comes for work is not at ease at breakfast. He wants to finish his breakfast and go for his work. His mind is on his work, on his case, on his meeting, whatever it may be. So if you choose the breakfast time to come and sit and chat with him, how was your sleep, sir? How was your night? How would you like the hotel? How do you like a breakfast buffet? You're delaying his pleasure. And he may not be very responsive to your questions. Other one, somebody who's come for a holiday. If breakfast is his first leisure meal, he's relaxed, he's sitting there. That is the time to approach him, take a little time off, talk to him. His first meal of the day, he will give you the answers. So for a great hotel professional, these differences is something that they must keep in mind.
And as we wrap up, when future hospitality professionals look at your career journey and your career growth, what legacy do you want them to take from your journey?
Well, I think they should not shy away from doing what they want. It is easier passing your life doing things that you love. And it is better in the end to say that I'd failed than to say I never even tried. So go ahead, follow your passion and do it. Don't be afraid of not being successful. Some things will work. Like I told you about rodeo. I opened this rodeo, which is a great success, but I closed 2 others. And one last story I will tell you. I met Mr. P.L. Lamba, the late Mr. P.L. Lamba, Qualities, and you must have heard of those stories. After partition, they'd come and set up those restaurants. And they had a lot of outdoor catering and restaurants. And I met him, and he was in his 70s then, as a young man. And I said, sir, can you please tell me what is the secret of a successful restaurant? And he looked at me and he said, why are you asking me? So I said, because you have opened so many Qualities all over in India. And so what better person for me to ask? He said, one thing which I'll always remember. He said, you know the restaurants I've opened, but you don't know how many I've closed. And I looked at him, with a start, and he said, we all publicize our successes, but we don't talk about our failures. And it is from failures you learn much more. Therefore, don't be afraid of following your dream and your passion.
Thank you so much for your time and insight, sir. It is an absolute honor to have this conversation about the industry and its growth with you. And to our viewers, thanks for watching. Like, share and subscribe for more such videos.